logo is excellent. Can we go there? I hope definitely we can. Now, we at the Islamic Chamber trying to grow this market qualitatively and quantitatively. And by qualitatively, we mean that when a certain producer, trader, or even consumer find a product, he can be sure that this product is correct. So we have registered a logo that carry a QR code. This QR code refers to the standard, when it's audited, by who it was audited, and all the other details. We have also developed a platform for introducing traders to producers all over the world in the halal. The objective of this is to grow the halal market. We don't want the halal market to be limited to trading between Muslim countries. It's all over the world because Muslims are all over the world. I've been asked in Cial in Paris by many traders, where can I find halal salami? Where can I find halal pizza? Where can I find? So they are actually looking for producer of halal products, and it's not that easy to find. Hence, this platform will enable the trade, and based on that, the growth of the halal economy on a quantitative scale. So we are trying to help, but again, one hand, as we say in Egypt, one hand cannot clap. We need the two hands. Actually, we need the collaboration of all countries. Not every country should work alone. We need the collaboration of all standard organizations. They recognize each other. We need the collaboration of accreditation organization to accredit each other and build a mutual recognition scheme. And we need the standards and accreditation to listen to the industry, because there is a lot of new things coming up and we have to adapt. The way of cleaning, for example, the tanks and the equipment, they are using steam, superheated steam at 115 and 120 degrees. It's quite cleaning afterwards. So we need to adopt this in our standard. It cannot be just the 7 stages of cleaning as it is in Sharia. We need to come up with new ideas, new things. Again, I'll refer to Professor Dato when he says that technology can help us. Remote monitoring. We can establish now cameras in the factory floor, and we can monitor online what's happening. We can be really sure that what's halal is really halal. We do not need to depend anymore on a visit once per year. We can be there each and every time. So technology is helping the halal industry, and the demand is there. Even non-Muslim countries, non-Muslim producers, non-Muslim traders see the need for halal products, and non-Muslim consumer actually is consuming halal product because it's good, it's tayyib. Thank you very much, Mr. Saif.
Engineer, thank you, Engineer Ashraf Talobi. Your very, very thought-provoking contribution. I think one point is coming up very loud and clear, and in fact we have got a question which we will be addressing after all the presentation is made, is in terms of getting a standardized way of getting all the halal products get quickly recognizable and globally. So I think it serves very many, I would call it silent conveying the message of Islam, because sometimes people will take in very black and white approach what Islam is, but through the promotion of halal industry and halal products across the globe, then the Muslim demand is the mainstream, and which Professor Ashraf, Engineer Ashraf is very clearly saying, the tayyib, that good, nourished, nutritious. So that concept will come along, and Islamic vocabulary will one day become the common item, common part of the common vocabulary in a conscious consumer of any product. I mean, any product that is sustainable, ethical. So without further ado, can I ask Emeritus Professor Chaudhry Mahmood Hassan to make his contribution, please.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. all our viewers and listeners. I'm very grateful for the invitation from the Global Forum, and particularly also happy to see Mr. Saif, my brother and very close friend, to be the moderator. And just I like to I show my slides because I presented, I'll given a presentation, a few minutes will take. If you look at the slides, then we can have more discussion on this. Just have a look. So I am, can you see it? I don't know whether, yes. Now you can see it.
Now I can see the PowerPoint, yes.
Okay, let's go
Effect of Bangladesh as a source for halal gelatin, particularly capsule shells.
Starting one. Thank you very much.
Yes, number
First
one.
one, then we'll come later on. So my today's topic, I have selected that Bangladesh, a prospective source of halal pharmaceutical ingredients, especially for gelatin capsule shells, which I want to focus and highlight on this point. And as discussed by our brother engineer Ashraf, I fully agree with him that questions of halal, when it comes, we need a common logo that should confirm that what is really halal. And nowadays it is not difficult to find out, particularly when the animal is slaughtered in a halal way or not. The point is that when questions of halal comes, it for taking as a food or food supplement. That is the point of halal. It may be halal meat and maybe the different animal products. There's a questions of halal questions will come. For taking the meat, other things, there's a different issue. That's not my issue. My field is the pharmaceuticals, so I'm trying to highlight this is a very interesting and important topic to discuss. So you can see that we are taking a lot of gelatin as a food and also in pharmaceutical industry for the production of gelatin capsule shells. And as far as the halal is concerned, as I said before, one point is that the source must be halal. That means except for pork or other things, pork is only one that is made haram in Islam, and other animals are halal. And second is, if the animal is halal, they should be slaughtered properly in the halal way. That is another point to take into consideration. So here is halal pharmaceutical goods as estimated, as we found from the different sources, almost 22% of the total halal products available in the world, roughly. It is almost 22%. You see, then 0.5 trillion scope is there for these halal products, particularly for the pharmaceutical goods. Pharmaceutical goods meaning this, which substances are used in pharmaceutical preparations, not as drug itself, but as a supplement or excipients. And so there are, next slide you can see it, main ingredients used in pharmaceuticals that are obtained from animal sources. But the questions of halal and haram comes. If you take any synthetic or semi-synthetic substances, it doesn't matter. In pharmaceutical preparations, there's a lot of excipients are used, but the questions of halal will not come because that are not obtained from any animals, and most of them are synthesized compounds, so no problem. So there is an example of few ingredients that are used in pharmaceuticals. For example, first one is gelatin, which is very important. That is used as capsule, emulsifier, and a filler. And the source is skin, bones, joints, maybe bovine, and you can see also collagen derivatives from vegetable. This is not my field of vegetables. There's no questions. It's very small amount obtained, but gelatin is mostly found from animal, particularly maybe pork and maybe from bovine. That I will discuss in a few minutes in later. I will show in later slides and other slides. And glycerin is also important. Mostly use it. Glycerin is called glycerin also. This is a byproduct when you manufacture soap from the fat. So here again, lard is used, vegetable used, and also you can use other fat. Bovine fat may be used. So glycerin is also used, but it's not expensive. But gelatin is more important than this. And then some other compounds like stearates, magnesium, stearic acid, this may be obtained from animal fats. Questions of halal come. Some enzymes are used. These are used from pig's pancreas. In that case, we should avoid it. Heparin is also anti-clotting agent. That's also obtained from intestine. Pigs, this is not halal, but from the bovine source can be used. But again, I'm saying that my main target on gelatin. So you can see the gelatin. Gelatin is a protein, and this is actually obtained from collagen. Collagen is a protein again with a large, long chain of amino acids. And from the collagen, its breakdown product is gelatin. Is also a small chain of the proteins, and it consists of almost 18 amino acids out of 19 essential amino acids, except tryptophan. All the amino acids present is very good for health as a nutrient that can be used. And you can see the global market for empty capsule shells. When the questions of gelatin comes, there's two main uses of gelatin. One, using in capsules, hard, empty capsule shells, and also gelatin as a product in so many food items. I first came to know about the gelatin using in Jello when I was in England in 1978, long before some of the viewers was not born probably at that time. Saifuddin was there at that time. So when I had good interactions with the Malaysian friends, and they first pointed out that you cannot take the Jello. Jello is a very popular brand of gelatin because it contains gelatin. It may be halal, may be haram. So we never came to know because in Bangladesh we are not used to using gelatin. So the first one you came to, how it is not halal? They said no, because this gelatin is obtained from bones, maybe from pork, maybe from the dog. We don't know, so we cannot take it. So later on, when you buy this sort of product, if we can see the gelatin is there, we check it, whether it is from halal source or not. This is the first when it came to know about the gelatin. So you can see global empty capsule shells, as you can see, the projected is 232, almost 238.2 million US dollar. Projected is more. So the huge market for this one. The halal gelatin manufacturing in the world, I searched it through the Google search, and I found there most of this halal, so-called halals, of course, the questions whether halal will come, and one of my brother, Engineer Ashraf, rightly point out what is halal and giving a certificate, what is authentic or not, that's a different issue. But most of the halal, the halal gelatins are coming from China, more than 60%. Then Pakistan is a good producer of this. India, they also produce some of the halal, they call it halal gelatin. Bangladesh, there's one industry, I will show in few minutes other slides. Egypt, they produce gelatin. United Arab Emirates, Georgia, one country near the Russian dismemberment of Russia is an independent country. They also produce some, but main sources of gelatin comes from China, and these gelatins are mainly used. Again, I say big market for the empty capsule shells. For the questions, because it's a solid dosage form, as you know, it pharmaceuticals, one of the solid dosage form most commonly used throughout the world is tablets. In tablets, it does not. It's not questions of halal haram comes because no animal products or byproducts are used in the tablets. But capsule is a very useful dosage form, because if you give the medicine or drug in a capsule shell, its bioavailability is more. It's very quick in bioavailable system, and if you take it orally, it absorbs very quickly from the stomach. So this is a very useful way of presenting, or we call administration of drug, by using capsule shells. And so capsule shells are mostly made with gelatin. Some of the capsule shells nowadays are produced from vegetable, but it's more costly. Vegetable capsule shells are, in Ibn Sina, we are using the vegetable capsule, particularly for probiotics. But majority of the capsule shells throughout the world are made from gelatin, huge market. So questions of halal comes. So as I said before, and China is the largest producer of this one, and India, Bangladesh, Egypt, UAE. The questions, when the questions of China halal comes, you should be more and more assured, because questions of it, if it is obtained from cows, for the cow's bones or from skins, but you're not sure the animal is slaughtered properly. So it may be not proper. If not slaughtered properly, then it's not a halal way of training the gelatin. That's questions will arise. And so you can say very high, huge amount coming from China. And then I just want to give you a few, few slides on the Bangladesh scenario. There's one pharmaceutical industry, Global Capsules Limited. They will come probably next year when we will arrange this in person, the conference. They will participate probably. This is the largest manufacturer of empty capsule shells, and they mainly prepare it or manufacture it from the cow bones, using cow bones. And they have the technology, they have taken the halal certificate, and at present they have the capacity of producing 8 billion capsules per year and 1,000 metric ton of gelatin. So gelatin, as I said before, are used to have different uses other than pharmaceuticals. But my main focus is on the pharmaceutical sector. And next, for example, how you produce gelatin is not a subject matter of maybe the viewers may not be interested, but the other process is there. There are pre-treatment. You have to take it may be from the bones, maybe from the skins. You have to soak it in alkaline or acid conditions just to remove the minerals and to remove the bacteria. Then it is water soluble extraction, purification, thickening, and you can dry the gelatin is a translucent, meaning that it is transparent solid particles. It's soluble in hot water, not in cold water. Hot water is not that much, because as you know, the protein is long chain, quite a long chain, though it is not longer than the collagen, but it is longer. It's quite a long chain, so it's not much soluble in water. And so cows in Bangladeshi perspective, you see, we roughly in the whole year, we slaughter 3.5 million of cows. People mostly take cows in Bangladesh. It's very popular. Though I could not find the statistics from the Google search. In Google search, I see the beef is mainly consumed by America, largest, maybe trillion. I could not give you the figure. Largest 26% beef meat consumed by the Americans. So the populations of America is just 360 million or something like. So in Bangladesh, 3.5 million throughout the year, and only in Eid al-Adha, we almost 1 crore, 10 million cows are slaughtered. So we are getting huge bones from the cows. And as I said before, bones producing good amount of gelatin than the skins, because we don't take it from the skins, because cow skins are more valuable for the productions of different leather technologies. So we can use the bones. Bones are just throwing it. Nobody is using bones. So disposal is a big problem. If you can use the bone for gelatin productions, it's more useful and cheaper source. So this is the last slide that I'm saying. Why it is prospect in Bangladesh, or why it is how Bangladesh can help. Number one, bones are obtained from the cows. Number one, we have used bones, I said before, and our cows are slaughtered in a halal way. So there's no doubt in that way halal or haram, and people can check. And use bones left unutilized, because you're using a part of the bones for the production, because there's only one factory, as I said before, Global Capsules Limited. They have enough capacity, but for meeting to demand of the local, but they also export to some other countries, but we should go for more industries. That I propose that financial support from rich Muslim countries may help to establish new gelatin. And another point is technology available. We know the technology. We have the technology to produce gelatin. And so that can be used, and other Muslim countries should come forward. Joint ventures program can be taken. Similarly, same things may be applicable for Pakistan or for Egypt. I prefer that we shall go and encourage other Muslim countries. And I again saying there is a huge prospect for the gelatin, at least for the productions of gelatin capsule. So that my humble request to all the people who are participating here, and to the entrepreneurs to come forward to go for this venture. With this, thank you very much. Jazakallahu khairan for your patient hearing. Shukran. And if any questions, we can discuss, no problem.
Thank you, Professor Hassan, for your very eye-opening contribution, particularly the potential of having a joint-up approach in global gelatin production facilities within Muslim countries, or in a majority countries where in China, there are 60% of the production, as from your research has confirmed, and potentially the USA, where the meat consumption is the highest. So we need to start, it gives us a lot of food for thought of thinking how collaboratively the Muslim nations can work together in order to promote not only the securing halal gelatin supplies across the globe, but at the same time highlighting the difference of halal gelatin and gelatin which may not be halal, because there could be some sort of health issues related to that. I'm not going to go into that sort of debate and discussion, but again, it's also for scientists like Dr. Professor Hassan need to come out with ideas why halal gelatin is better than non-halal gelatin in terms of for the overall consumption for human race. I have got my last speaker, Dr. Ahmed Rabi, to make his contribution. Dr. Ahmed Rabi is from Al-Azhar Islamic University. He's a lecturer and a researcher on Sharia and law. Al-Azhar is, as you know, is the most prominent Islamic institution in the globe now. So without further ado, Dr. Ahmed Rabi, the floor is yours.
Before the start, Mr. Saif, can I just add one point, one comment on your point? This gelatin is itself, there's no difference between halal and haram sources. Gelatin is a chemical substance. Of course, it is useful using in the capsule. The question from which source you are deriving, it's from halal sources, halal, it's from halal, but chemical composition of gelatin is same. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Hassan, for clarifying this. Dr. Ahmed Rabi.
Thank you, Mr. Saif, and thank you all my colleagues who are participating in this respectable forum. And it's my pleasure to be one of the speakers of this important topic, Halal Economy. My research paper is entitled Towards a Unified International Regulation of the Halal Economy. First of all, economy in Islam enables man to satisfy his legitimate needs with the aim to achieve his mission of reconstructing the universe as Allah's successor on earth. It is known that man is the maker of the economy. Thus, he is entrusted with achieving sustainable development in all its forms, including economic development, which is based in Islam on foundations of Islamic Sharia, or the so-called Halal Economy. What's the meaning of Halal? Halal in Sharia is what is permitted by Allah and His Messenger, peace be upon him. But in economy, Halal is a feature that designates a consumer product that observes the principles and the provisions of Islamic Sharia during all stages of its supply chain, including production, transportation, and distribution. The demand of this type of economy increases when the consumer feels that he is getting a high quality, safe, ethical product that achieves the safety levels. The significance of halal economy. The halal economy does not only have religious benefits, but also have many benefits related to health, hygiene, and safety, as well as other benefits in the field of sustainable economic development. The global halal is a promising sector. The increasing level of global halal awareness on such issues as sustainability, ethical consumption, green growth, and digitization are a combination of factors that have contributed to the flourishing of the halal industry in the recent years. The possibility of establishing a unified regulation for the halal economy. There are two aspects for this matter, procedural and objective. The procedural aspect has two scenarios. The first one comes through the international agreements undertaken by the relevant international organizations, and then the rest of countries are invited to join them. This requires a vigorous effort at the outset to adapt the concepts of the halal economy, or for countries to embrace within their territory. Then the experience is transferred to others, depending on the rapid success of this tryout and its promotion. Regarding the objective aspect, this is a jurisprudential issue that must be placed on the scale of Sharia sciences. Then the distinction must be between what is contained in a definitive text that has no room for interpretation, such as the text that prohibits carrion, blood, and pork, and what is speculative and may be interpreted, such as modern methods of slaughter, packaging, logistic services, gelatin, food flavorings. In these issues, we can differ in our perspectives. To clarify further, what is forbidden in one place may be permitted in another place, according to what the special, temporal, environmental, and the taste considerations prevailing in communities. This difference should be understood within the framework of capacity, flexibility, and non-denial. Accordingly, the halal trademark can be developed as a unified global formula if the product fulfills the criteria of the preemptory legal rulings as a necessary initial step. In case the product is mixed with descriptions that accept ijtihad, then freedom is given to each region to decide if the product is halal or not, according to what prevails in that region. This means that there will be a unified international trademark obtained by the product anywhere in the world when it fulfills the conditions subject to the jurisprudence agreement and is free from the agreed upon legal prohibitions, as well as a local halal mark specific to each country. That place is according to what is decided by its local legal bodies. This is because saying that halal formula is unified in all cases, ignoring the differences in societies, leads to saying that what Islamic Sharia can accommodate is narrow. The research of the Second Gulf Conference for the halal industry in Kuwait in 2013 resulted in the need to establish an authority to issue halal certificates for Islamic centers and the institution working in the halal industry. In this context, I'd like to note that on the sidelines of the annual meetings of the Islamic Development Bank Group 2022, Egypt hosted a main session entitled Reviving the Halal Industry and Creating Economic Opportunities, which brought together the experts in the halal industry to exchange ideas on how to develop and strengthen the halal industry. Since Egypt is an Islamic country, so the public taste in it is directed to halal products. Moreover, it is possible to benefit from the scientific rule that Al-Azhar can contribute locally and globally in this regard. Yet, we still have several challenging questions when talking about development of the halal economy. Some of these questions are: is there a link between the culture and the behavioral values and the spirit of the halal economy? What are the factors which motivate and enhance the halal economy? Are these factors related to legislation, promotion and publicity, or health considerations, or to economic considerations such as prices or related to the quality? Is there a development in the methods of marketing the halal product, especially with Islamophobia and the ban of wearing the hijab? Can the law of intellectual property play a hooked role in protecting of the halal products? And eventually, shall we make use of the crisis of COVID-19 in promoting the halal industry, which is marked by high levels and safety and the hygiene and health? Thank you, Mr. Sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed Rabi, for your contribution. You raised a couple of issues. I mean, I would say that the whole Muslim world is facing the onslaught of Islamophobia based on ignorance and misunderstanding of this universal faith and how it can tie in the global society into one. I think these are the challenges that the Muslim intelligentsia need to confront and find a best possible way to navigate our journey. So I consider this halal growth of halal economy, halal product is a part of demystifying the faith of Islam, because Islam, as I read in my childhood, a book called Islam, the most misunderstood religion. So as we navigate our journey towards a well-integrated mainstream world society where people of all faith or none can live harmoniously side by side, is also this halal promotion of halal economy does play a significant role in creating an environment of tolerance. So can I just open the floor for contribution from the rest of the colleagues who are participating, although there are not many people at this session, but I would like to invite contribution from all. Yes, Engineer Ashraf.
Yes, Dr. Saif, if I may. If I may first comment on Professor Chaudhry's comment regarding capsules. We have seen in a Muslim country patients taking the multivitamins, which is typically in capsules, ask their doctors on the source of the capsule whether it's halal or not. And when they didn't get a solid answer from the pharmaceutical companies, they stopped actually consuming it. They forced pharmaceutical companies to change the packaging from capsules to sachets to comply with them. I mean, they didn't know about Professor Chaudhry's production of halal capsule at the time, but then they were forced to comply. Let me tell you again another example from an airliners, a Muslim airliners, which forced all their food and beverage producer to comply with halal certification. Everybody, biscuit, cake, juice, anything has to be halal. So the market regulates itself. The market dynamics demands this. Now, we need the awareness of Muslims to know that halal is not only a proper slaughter of meat. Halal is about everything. Halal, if I am preparing a vegetable soup and I'm using stock from swine, then the vegetables are not halal anymore.
Yeah, correct.
Excellent,
So
excellent. Thank you.
A lot of aspects about this that we need to know and make people know about it, because again, Muslims are everywhere, right?
Yes.
Now, I think we received a question on the floor about the agency working for standardization and stuff like that. I don't want to speak on behalf of anyone, but there is the Standards and Metrology Institute, SMIIC, that's part of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. It has, to the best of my knowledge, 37 Muslim countries as members, or maybe even more, and they are working on civic standards. So again, let's get some specifics for the market itself. The market has, from the 57 Muslim countries, there is only 18 that have their own standards. Only 18. Of course, Indonesia, Malaysia, the GCC, Egypt, Turkey, there are certain countries that adopt standards. But then there is 37 that doesn't have any standard.
Yes,
so the easy way out.
Can I interject?
Of course,
Jamil,
yes,
before
I do agree with Engineer Ashraf that we need to come up with a different strategy, especially post-COVID strategy, to address this halal issue. When Prof. Chaudhry was presenting on gelatin, I was thinking, who is the top 10 producer of pharmaceutical product in the world? Any one of these Muslim business entity? I believe none. So what we need to do would be to penetrate or to be on that list, to become, the Muslim countries to be the producer of all these pharmaceutical products. If people want to buy, many Muslim countries want to buy, they must buy from this particular list, not the present non-halal producer that we have. So maybe one of the strategy out of this forum would be to suggest we need to have what we call a world global halal strategy or strategic plan, so that we can address this particular challenge once and for all. When Engineer Ashraf mentioned about the food on the airline, I remember one incident when I was presenting a paper in Sweden. This particular audience was relating to me her experience. He was asking Malaysia Airlines, is this food halal on the airline? Proudly, the stewardess responded by saying, yes, it's 100% halal. And then this particular, passenger mentioned, if I knew that this food is halal, I would not fly on this airline. And they were shocked, because they relate halal with, we are talking about awareness here, they relate halal with cruelty to animals. So we need to do a better job on making sure that the world community understand what halal is. That's why I was very interested with what Dr. Ahmad Rabi was saying. We need to make sure that the world community understand this. And then in terms of the logo just now, we need to have a different strategy for a Muslim country. That's where we can control, because the government is there to help us with a standardized logo that we can agree on. But for non-Muslim countries, for example, my experience just last week when I was in Lisbon, this particular outlet, the restaurant outlet, have their own personal logo. The restaurant own logo that says 100% halal, nothing to do with any government bodies or any authority. So that's why my suggestion for countries that are Muslim countries, we can go on the what we call standardized, harmonized logo. But for non-Muslim countries, we cannot escape from working with the grand mosque, the masjid, where the community are. So we need to work with this community to establish the halal and tayyiban in that particular non-Muslim places. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Professor Dato, if I may just add a very quick comment. We are working now with some research institute in Germany, and they are linked to the EU standards to standardize the halal logo, actually, because they have done the same job with vegan. So we are going the same path. So
I think good.
I think
we also have a project with the Erasmus European Union project, whereby we took the opportunity to introduce halal and tayyiban course, a professional course on educating the European community on what halal is, so that when they manufacture halal food and whatnot, they will abide, they will understand the standards. Maybe you can collaborate, Brother Ashraf.
of course.
Yeah.
I just would like to invite other colleagues who are participating, particularly Ahmed Mohammed, and we have got Brigadier General Dato Mohammed, and Johan Khalidi, Nurhan Hafiz, Muhammad Khalid, Muhammad Zafar Kudus, Liza Hassan, Caroline, Isa Salah, Wani Amin, Chan K. Lee, Muhammad Shiha. I need to hear from you all your impression to the that you have participated all along. Anyone? I think if you can unmute yourself and then you can comment on any of the other participants. Any comment on that?
May I say something?
Yes, Rajiv Jawal. Yes, you asked a questions, and I think your questions has been answered in many ways. But please go ahead.
Yes, I think all of you have really spoken very well, and I personally feel that we should not, you should not differentiate between Muslim countries and non-Muslim countries, because Muslims are everywhere. And the problem is not about, of course, there is production is an issue that it has to comply with certain norms. But I think the core issue is that there is no standard which is acceptable globally, where you can say, so if, let's say, for example, if you had a standard that was globally acceptable, then what happened, whether I'm in the US or whether I'm in Dubai or I'm in Malaysia, the same halal certification would mean the same thing for everybody. And the consumer would not have any confusion. The moment there is one global logo put on that, there is no confusion. Like I think Engineer Ashraf showed that there are thousands of logos. Everybody has their own logo. And because of that, there is this confusion. So growing the business, growing the companies, growing the halal consumption, I think the first premise is the certification. And I think Ashraf also mentioned that some countries are already working with it. But my recommendation or my suggestion, I'm not no one to really, your people are very senior to me. But my suggestion would be that whichever countries are working in certification, if you work with global bodies like the ISO, which is certifying all countries, where people are like ISO 9000 or all these certifications, everybody accepts them. If you work along with them and you get a certification that is acceptable to all the Muslim countries as well as to the ISO, then what will happen? Globally, it will get accepted by everybody in one go, and it will make life easier for everyone. And once the certification is there, then of course, whatever products you want to increase in production within the Muslim countries or in other countries, that's not going to be a problem. Everybody will be able to work harder. And I think the consumption will automatically grow, because everybody will know that, yes, this is the right kind of thing that I'm eating. Like somebody said, they go and want the medicine, but the medicine is not, halal certified, so they're not consuming it. So it's actually stopping the consumption. Whereas if the certification was there, that consumption would increase, and automatically the economy, the halal economy, would increase globally. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajiv Jawal.
Brother
Any
Rasif,
other comment?
actually, the slide that you showed just now is from me, actually, not from
I'm sorry.
Engineer Ashraf. What I wanted to mention here is this, although we have all these multiple or different types of logo, various type of logo, but it still doesn't work for certain places, For example, my visit in Lisbon, they have this 100% halal logo displayed. But what does it mean? Why must we have 100% halal? It must be either halal or non-halal. Even some of these halal logo are being abused. My visit to Cordova, they have this more or less close to the Malaysian halal logo displayed. Yeah. Then when I went through the menu, wow, fine. They have the logo halal. I'm very satisfied that I should be having my meal here. But when I look further, they're serving pork. So the halal logo is being abused. That's why I'm suggesting for non-Muslim countries, we should work closely with the local Muslim community, because there's no government body that can help us here. We need to work it in that way. Just my comment for now.
Yes, that was Jamil. I think in terms of our colleagues and Jewish brothers communities in the UK, they have got a very sophisticated kosher meat available, and there is a standard practice where the certification is there. I think there are halal Muslim authorities in the United Kingdom who certifies halal production, etc. But again, it is a growing process. We haven't sophisticated our approach as yet.
Yeah.
But
I'm
this
just
is
sharing my
something that we
experience
need
in
to.
Karova. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Any more contribution? We are, as I said, that halal food industry is the dominating factor in the halal industry, halal economy. But there are other things. We haven't got any contribution from the tourism side.
Well, if I can talk about tourism, tourism is still gaining some momentum in the halal tourism. Some countries are very excited about this, and they're actually starting to develop a national halal tourism for it, because they see that they can grab more tourists from the Muslim countries, whereby it's halal friendly place. Because again, the decision on where to go for some Muslim depends if they can find a meal, if they can find a place to pray, if they can find Qibla direction quite easy, if there's no practices where they take their family that is defying the Muslim culture. So some countries are realizing this and trying to establish a national a national strategy for attracting halal tourism. It is growing actually, and with actually the war between Russia and Ukraine, many touristic destinations are losing lots of travelers. So they are looking for the Muslims to compensate for this, and hence they are trying to provide or fulfill the requirements of Muslims.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other contribution from the colleagues?
Yeah, can I say something, since no one is responding? Yes. To Ashraf, Brother Ashraf? Yes, the Korean Halal Society is actually looking into how they can please the tourists that come to Seoul, especially on the food and of course prayer and so forth. Yeah, but one of the things about Korea is that they are known for cosmetic. Halal tourists, or sorry, Muslim tourists that come to Korea looks for cosmetics that are halal. At the moment, there's none. So maybe one of the strategy that we can do for countries, non-Muslim countries like this, to promote halal, tourism, would be to help them with making sure that the products are halal, because most of the cosmetic are OEM. It's just a matter of converting some of those products into halal by making sure that the ingredients are allowable, halal. So that's what we can do actually.
Thank you. I think any other final word from Professor Chaudhry Hassan?
That is not my field as such, but as far as the cosmetics are concerned, as Brother Dr. Jamil is commenting on, that as far as the cosmetics, I don't think so there's much chance of using haram things, except in the case of, because there are few animal products that are used in cosmetics, except the soap. In soap, there's a question called halal soap, because they are using the what is called the sodium, stearate of sodium, which is the main soap, we call soap ingredient, long chain fatty acid of the sodium or potassium salt of the fatty acid. But my point, I don't know, these are questions of Sharia. This scholar can give us better opinion. When soap is produced by hydrolyzing the glycerol of fatty acids by alkalization, meaning by sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, when the soap is produced, it's a chemical substance, and since it is used out of the body, not in the we are not taking it, I don't think the questions of halal soap or haram soap comes. I have this opinion that this is, to me, is halal, because the chemical substance once is already modified. But in case of gelatin, there's difference, because you are extracting gelatin from the bones, and the questions, and because you are inhaling it, that means you are taking this orally. So this more strong halal haram questions will come in case of gelatin or food or in the capsule shells. But for the other cosmetics, I don't think this is a big problem. And as far as the food is concerned, as everybody told and mentioned that halal meats are available, and this is a different issue. This is not a point to discuss. And halal tourism, I am not a bit confused. I don't think so. It's also big issues because for the business purpose, most of the countries which is offering offering people to come for tourism, they for their own they give the privileges, giving the directions of Kaaba, not putting the wine in their hotels. That's a different issue. My point is mainly to give emphasis on the food, particularly gelatin. I think it's a big issue because, as Mr. Engineer Ashraf also pointed out, and also our brother Jamil also said, this is a big issue because you're not taking the medicine. In America, so many people ask me that this is not halal. You must be written halal in the container. In several states, in Buffalo, in New York, in different places, Muslims say, no, unless you put halal, we'll not take it. So questions of harmonization of certification is most important. Once you can establish it, and Engineer Ashraf, brother, is giving more emphasis, I fully agree with him. There must be a global body, maybe from the OIC countries, to look after this. Like the ISO, as Razib also probably, Mr. Razib also pointed out this one, like ISO, this is a very good idea. So give one harmonized, one single halal logo all over the world, Muslim, non-Muslim, because Muslims are living all over the world. But another interesting point for non-Muslims, they don't bother to take the halal. These halal meats are all over the world is very popular because for them halal or haram, no problem. They like to take the beef. If the beef is slaughtered and not slaughtered, for non-Muslims, no problem. So nowadays, halal word is not even used. If it's beef, everybody is taking. So the only questions in food, we don't take the pork meat. That's the only difference. But if the chicken is slaughtered, if the beef is slaughtered, for non-Muslims, no problem. They're taking. So it's for universal. They'll have to take. There's no difference that this is not, when it's halal way, we will not take it. They're not saying, they're using it. So this most important point to make a common logo that should be recognized by the OIC and like ISO certificate, if you take the people expert from all Muslim countries, even from the non-Muslim countries, what expert you take them, and you should frame what is called some points who should be considered this. The animal should be halal, for example, check it is slaughtered in the proper way, cleanliness is maintained. There are some parameters can be set up. And on the basis, they can inspect, they can go and visit, and there may be their office in all Muslim countries, non-Muslim countries. And that is the way there should be the recommendations. They should come from this program. I request Mr. Saif and from the Global Forum, because the huge market for, as I said, only if you take the example, gelatin is a big issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Khan. Anyone else from the audience? Any comment? If there is no further comment, I would like to go ahead with my concluding remarks. I mean, from your contribution,
Brother Saif, maybe I would like to take this opportunity to share my last slides. I think the way forward will be for us to reset, recover, and restore the world halal business. We need to look into technology. We also need to look into how Muslim countries can help each other using our Wakaf fund, our Baitul Mal fund. For example, earlier on, I suggested that we should have halal complex in the country producing this halal food or halal pharmaceutical and whatnot. These particular activities need funding. Okay, need funding from brothers from other countries here, through Baitul Mal fund, through Wakaf fund. If we can sort of help Asnaf children to be working in this particular what we call a business activity, so that we can kill a few birds with one stone. Maybe that's what we can do, Jilly. If we can collaborate on that one.
I would say kill two birds with one sharp knife. To make it real halal. Professor Dato Ismail, I think thing is that the process has just begun, and I read in a book, in a magazine called the Arabia, long time ago, I remember nearly 40 years ago. It says, I will be, he said, this unfinished journey of Islam in one territory. I feel that the unfinished journey of the promoting the halal economy product to make it the mainstream. Yes, one of our colleagues want to speak. Is it Khalid? Please go ahead.
Right. I just want to know, like, speaking of gelatin and things like that, in terms of, getting it halal, what if there are other substitutes in the form of, say, in a growing economy of hemp? Hemp is also a very big substitute of, it has a lot of medicinal properties. Hemp is used in construction. Hemp is used in various industries as a primary raw material to extract various different purposes. So from that point of view, could we look at halal even as a form of substitute instead of just purely using gelatin?
Any of the
what he's saying, that whether there is a substitute of gelatin, as I said before, is very difficult, because this capsule shell can be prepared from vegetable, but this is very expensive. So gelatin is a very cheap and source, and it can be extracted very easily. It's not very complicated. So we should go for the gelatin. If it is obtained from the halal meat, halal sources, then it's no problem, because there's huge amount of, as I said before, in Bangladesh and other Muslim countries, they take a lot of cows, and cows' bones are mostly used in this case, because cows are more consumed by the Muslim countries, particularly Pakistan, Bangladesh, and in Egypt. I don't know what the situation there. So the bones we are just throwing the bones. So it is a misuse of this one. If you can use these bones, which are not used for other purposes, so disposing bones is a big problem. So if you use the bone, we have the technology, we can produce the gelatin, and this is cheaper and it's very good. So we should not go for the vegetable shell. This is more costly, and it takes, the sources are not much available, not that easily available, like the gelatin from the animal sources. So I recommend to go for gelatin from the
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I think that Professor Hassan, from your ideas of collecting the bones of cow, maybe goat and other animal for consumption across the Muslim nations and also the non-Muslim countries where these animals are slaughtered in the halal way. Procurement of those bones, processing them and supplying them to the manufacturers of gelatin products could be something that we need to think through, that whether it could create employment and others, etc.
Yes. It's also
so I think I have been yeah. So this is I have been advised by the administration that we have to conclude. So I think allow me to go for my concluding remarks. Is that from the discussion and also from our understanding that the expansion of the halal economy will continue to grow significantly, but in terms of getting it its fullest potential, I think we all need to start thinking and channeling our ideas through a process. I think I would like to sort of acknowledge my gratitude to the Sarawak state government to facilitating this dialogue, and hopefully we will be meeting face to face within early 2023, maybe in July time next year, where we can have a further engagement. But the issue currently that I feel that the most challenging is the two. One is the security issue, constant civil war and interaction and violence in Syria, Yemen, and those many Muslim nations has disrupting many of our efforts, and also the challenges of the climate change, which affecting many Muslim nations. Nevertheless, we should continue to work together, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Baqarah 195 verses, and do good. And for Allah certainly loves the good doers. With this, I conclude and thank you for participating. And inshallah, we'll be looking forward to meeting you in person next year. Thank you.